Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Quality Cup Life. My name is Imani, and here we talk about pouring into ourselves first, pouring into our own cup first. You cannot give what you do not have, so let's pour it up and flow past capacity. All right, so today I'm going to be reacting to Graham Stephan's video, and he's talking about how to build wealth in your 20s the easy way. So we'll see what he says. And before we get into it, let me know in the comments what you're drinking today. What are you pouring into your cup today? Today I have a superfood greens powder with collagen and some magnesium because I had a little bit of a headache. If you don't know what superfoods are or what a super green powder does or what it can do for you, check out this video. I'm going to put it in the little bar at the top and then in the description. All right, y'all ready? Let's get it.
What's up, Graham? It's Guys here. So lately I've gotten really into the series from GQ Sports called My First Million, where athletes share exactly how they make and spend a lot of money. In my case, though, I didn't always make the perfect choice, but given how I've been inspired by their series, I thought it would be fun to break down exactly how I made and spent my first $1 million by the age of 26. All you need to do is pay for my financial freedom masterclass starting at the low cost of just $1,899. Just kidding. All I ask for in return is that if you enjoy the video, consider subscribing if you want to see more personal finance content, or hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm because it helps me out a lot. That's it, and with that said, let's begin. So first, it's important to mention that I never started out from a family who came from money, so it wasn't like I had a long-lost uncle who passed away and left me $1 million, although, hey, if I have a wealthy uncle out there...
dope, though. Call me.
Yeah, but for real, growing up at times, money was an issue.
Dope.
I remember seeing the struggles it caused. I saw firsthand how difficult money was to come by. And from a young age, I saw that if you want to be financially secure, you have to work hard and save. And that's what I did. In high school, I worked part-time at a marine aquarium wholesaler, taking pictures of fish and coral. Honestly, I enjoyed the job so much that I would have done it for free, but by working after school, weekends, and holidays, I was able to save my first few $1,000s. Unfortunately, though, after a few years, the company sold, so I left and shifted my attention to a new venture, and that was investments. Now, at the time, I was barely graduating high school. I had no formal training whatsoever. I just knew it was something I really wanted to do. So I started emailing any job posting that I could find. In fact, here's an email that I sent to a highly respected Beverly Hills investment firm when I was 17, and needless to say, they never got back to me. But eventually, after 6 months of calling and emailing every company that I could find, right as I was graduating high school, I ended up landing a job at a precious metals investment firm in Los Angeles. The job was minimum wage, which I believe was $8 an hour. I was doing data entry, and unlike what I expected, it was horrible. Thankfully, that job only lasted a few months until I quit, but that taught me everything that I did not want in a career. I knew at that point I couldn't work for anybody else, I didn't want set hours, and most importantly, I had to enjoy what I was doing, and that's how I fell into real estate. Now, since I had terrible grades in high school, I didn't have a college education, and I had very limited job experience, I decided to go and get my real estate license. Saying that makes it seem like there's a really low barrier to becoming a real estate agent, but yeah, there's a really low barrier to becoming a real estate agent. Now, during the time that I was studying for those exams, I would go to open houses every single Sunday to go and meet different agents and network with them to talk about the business. Even though most agents had no desire to talk to me and were completely dismissive to hear anything I had to say, after months of doing that, one agent decided to give me a chance and let me work with them for free in exchange for teaching me the business. So I used that as an opportunity to do anything he needed. I'd get to houses early to turn on the lights, I'd print out flyers, I'd put up open house signs on major street corners, I'd field appointments. I didn't even care about the money at that point. I just wanted the experience because I felt like I was learning so much just by watching how someone else worked. But as I became more and more familiar with the process, I started taking pictures of his lease listings so I could post them up on Craigslist to meet prospective clients. Usually those rental commissions would range anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s depending on the price and term of the lease. But after about 9 months or so of doing that, I made my first $35,000. By the time I was 20, I was more consistently representing buyers. I had built up a net worth to about $100,000, and I absolutely loved what I did. I would work the really difficult clients, the small deals that no one else wanted to take on, the clients who I knew had no intention of buying a house and they weren't even serious but still wanted to see stuff. But that actually wound up working in my favor because some of those clients led to deals and more deals and more deals, and that was my first year earning $100,000. And a year after that, I ended up selling my biggest house ever at $5.5 million
Let's
to a
go.
buyer that I met on Craigslist. At that point, I got an offer to leave the brokerage I was currently working with from a colleague who opened up his own company called the Oppenheim Group. Some of you might know them as the real estate brokerage on the Netflix show Selling Sunset, and you might have seen me lurking in the background during some of the drama.
Nice.
Although when I first joined, the Oppenheim Group was just a few of us growing our prominence in West Hollywood. And I gotta say, learning from a new environment was so impactful because I got to see a different side to the industry than I was accustomed to. And I got to see what it was like to work with someone who only took on the listings that he knew he could sell. So by watching him and taking on the same approach myself, my income skyrocketed.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the pickier I became, the more money I started to make, and pretty soon my income exceeded $250,000. Through all of this, I made my first $1 million by the time I was 26 years old, although in terms of how I spent it, this is what made the difference, because by the end of almost every single year, I would be completely broke. My first purchase was a used 2005 Toyota Prius that I bought for $7,500. Prior to then, I was driving a 1998 Ford Explorer with 150,000 miles on the clock. And as I started earning money as a real estate agent, I realized that I needed
my car got over 100,000, so it's not.
A slightly more presentable car that wasn't scratched with torn seats. To me, this was really just an investment in my own career to build that image of being a professional that clients could work with. The second, I also purchased a $1,200 tailored suit. I realized pretty quickly that one of the best ways that I could compensate for my youthful inexperience is by dressing the part. Even though I didn't wear it every day, there were so many occasions where a well-fitting suit was essential. And just like the car, to me, this was an investment in my own career. And third, this one might seem stupid, but when I was 19 years old and sold my first house, I used almost all of that commission to buy a used Lotus Elise for $30,000. Today, this is pretty much everything I tell people not to do, but when I was 19 years old and I had the means to buy the dream car that I was obsessed with, I just went for it. I just reasoned that if I bought the car used, I wouldn't lose too much value, I could meet and network with other car enthusiasts, and it would give me a fun outlet to drive on the weekends. Sure enough, I kept the car for 2 years. I ended up meeting some of my best friends and clients through those car meets, and I later sold the car for the same price I paid for it. And fourth, after that, when I was 21 years old in 2011, yes, I am old now, but I spent $72,000 buying and fixing up my first property. This was purchased as a foreclosure in San Bernardino at the very bottom of the market because frankly I was really concerned about the inconsistency of making money as a real estate agent, and I wanted something to bring me passive income regardless of what happened to my career. This first deal got me absolutely hooked on real estate. I ended up renting it out for about $1,200 a month, and from that point on all I wanted to do is make and save more money just to be able to go and buy more rental property. That of course brought me to my fifth purchase, which is another rental property in San Bernardino that I bought for $80,000 with renovation.
I bet you can't get those kind of properties for that money right now. It's probably like ×5 at this point. But that's dope though. I know for me, I plan on getting into real estate as well, so I think that's amazing. Okay, let's continue. This
is probably one of the easiest, smoothest deals that I have ever done because the house needed almost no work and I rented it out to the first tenant who saw it, who is still there to this day. But then we got number 6. At the same time as that, I bought a triplex down the street for another $140,000. This was ultimately the reason why I sold my Lotus Elise, because after buying the first 2 properties, I had exhausted all of my money and I needed to come up with some extra cash to bridge the gap. As upsetting as it was to see that car go, I'm glad I did because the triplex ended up renting for $2,150 a month, and 10 years later, I still have it. The seventh, after a few years of missing the car community and really wanting to get back in 2014, I spent another $50,000 to buy a 2008 Lotus Exige S240. For several years, it was showcased in the background of most of my earlier videos, and when it came time to sell it, I got back that very same $50,000 that I paid for it. So again, it was...
I thought he was going to talk about his Tesla, but I think the Tesla came later.
It's a totally free car. Now, eighth, in 2016, my largest purchase was a $780,000 3-bedroom home in West Los Angeles that I then spent $50,000 fixing up. As I mentioned prior to this, my career as a real estate agent really began to take off, and a lot of my previous clients ended up buying homes as the entire market was going up in value. So as a result of making significantly higher commissions, I used that money to go and buy this. I later ended up renting out the home for $4,200, and the house has almost doubled in value since
nice.
then. Now, ninth,
Okay.
a year later, I decided to spend all of my savings buying up another property, and that would be a duplex that I purchased for $585,000, which I then spent another $80,000 fixing up. Since I had just started posting YouTube videos at the time, I used it as an opportunity to talk about the purchase, the remodeling process, and document as much as I could on the subject of house hacking and living for free. Essentially, by renting out the other half of the property, paying down my mortgage, and using the garage as a tax write-off, that completely covered my cost of living, meaning I got to stay there for $0. And finally, 10th, the one purchase that put me over that $1 million mark was another property that I bought right down the street from that for $815,000. This is a completely turnkey property that needed absolutely nothing, and since the last owners remodeled it for themselves, they spent a considerable amount of money making it perfect. However, the seller mislabeled the property as a one-bedroom, one-bathroom, when in reality, there was a bonus room that could easily be sectioned off to create a second bedroom and substantially increase its value. So I purchased it, I called it a two-bedroom, and I rented it out for substantially more than what the previous owner was getting. Now, what's unique about this is that, as you could see, actually spending $1 million out of pocket goes quite a long way. Because I was investing in real estate, I was able to control the entire property for just 20 to 25% down. Because I got my investments as low as possible, that allowed me to reinvest all of that growth into buying more investments. Honestly, up until the age of about 30, which wasn't that long ago, I would only buy assets that I knew would retain their value, or rental properties that I could fix out and rent out for a profit. In fact, up until recently, my goal was that by the end of the year, I wanted to have no money left over in my account, because that means I had invested all of it. Of course, there were some mistakes that I made along the way, like not getting a credit card until I was 21 years old, because I grew up with the mindset that if you want to buy something, you should pay for it with cash instead. Or missing out on otherwise great experiences because I was too frugal to spend that extra $30 hanging out with friends, so instead I would either just stay home or...
This was me in college. I was like, I'm not going nowhere, because you got movies money, you got party money, you got gas money, you got food. I mean, I was like, nah, I'ma just chill in the dorm room, and I'ma, you know what I'm saying, do this homework in the lab, because who got money? That's that. Literally, that was me. I wouldn't recommend it.
Or work more. I mean, in hindsight, it really wouldn't have made a difference at all, and I missed out on a lot of personal growth just because I refused to spend money. But in the big...
Same. I missed out on a lot of social interaction, I'll say that, in college. Well, I won't say a lot, because some of it was some BS. Not some BS, but like, it wouldn't have been the best environment for me to be in, but I did miss out on some like decent social interaction because I was thinking about money, and I have to do this homework, or I have to get ready for this and do all that. So I feel you, big dog.
Big picture, I can only learn from those mistakes, share my own experiences, and make sure they don't happen again.
Yeah.
I guess the big takeaway here is that if there's anything that you can control, it's how much money you spend and which opportunities you pursue. That's why it's always a good idea to cut back on what you don't need. Spend money strategically when you're young. And the best opportunity out there is to subscribe if you haven't done that already, because it's completely free to do. So
exactly, y'all better subscribe too. Thank you.
With that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, also make sure to like the video, make sure to hit the notification bell. Also, feel free to add me on Instagram or on my second channel, The Graham Stephan Show. I post there every single day. I'm not posting
Not
here,
the
so if you want to see a brand new video from me every single day.
Because I'm an island boy. Yes. Anyway. All right, cool. So, that was very interesting. So that was Graham Stephan. If you didn't know, he was talking about how he became a millionaire by 26 years old, and that's like super cool. And basically he got to be a millionaire because of real estate, and not just him being a real estate agent, but because one of the things that I've learned first from reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and one of the things principles he talks about that in that book is, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And basically, it didn't matter how much money he made from being an agent. The part that made the biggest difference, of course, making more money, of course, is a big factor. But what's even bigger than that is investing your money, because it doesn't matter how much money you make if you don't know how to keep it or grow it or invest it, or if you just spend it and you're not spending it, like investing it on either your knowledge or You could invest it in your health. You could invest it in something that's some type of asset or something that's gonna give you a return. If you don't invest, then it doesn't matter. You're gonna go broke. And so I think this is awesome that he, told his story and was talking about that. And so, yeah, and I also thought that it was cool that although he said that he wouldn't have done it now, looking back, spent the money on getting the cars and stuff like that, it actually benefited him, because I remember I've seen videos of his videos before, and he talked about how he made sure that the car that he got held its value even after he drove it, even after he put miles on it. The average car doesn't do that. The more miles it has on it, the more it goes down in value, but the Lotus doesn't do that. So he made sure he did his research. That's 1. And 2, he got to meet all kinds of people at those car meetups, and some of them became some of his clients, which brought him in more money. So he was just very strategic about what he was doing, and I think that is amazing. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Like it if you like it, comment, and let me know what you think. Subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time. Bye.